All right, many blessings, friends. Pastor Halton here from House 633, and it is such a blessing to be here with you guys today. It is Wednesday, so today we're going to be continuing our conversation on love, lust, or purpose. This is going to be part two, and this is the month of love and friendship. So we wanted to help out some people that are dating and try to help their toxic relationship, or even make the relationship better if they have a healthy relationship. And if they're married, we definitely want to help the married people. We need healthy marriages as well. And today I have two amazing people joining me. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves for just in case you guys don't know them, if it's the first time you guys are tuning in. So we'll start here with
Jemima.
Jemima.
I was here last Wednesday, and I think we started this conversation. There's so much to say. There's so much to learn, and there's so many questions that we have ourselves as single women. And I think that today we're going to touch on many important and crucial points. I have a lot of questions, so I'm really excited to dive into this conversation.
Well, I hope I can answer some of those questions. Sometimes you get put in a spot, you don't have an answer to them. And we also have Angie with us today.
Hey, you guys probably already know me. I've been here a couple times. Well, my name's Angelina. Just in case you guys don't know me, here's my face. You guys will be seeing me opening service here and there and occasional Wednesdays. But I was looking forward to this Wednesday because I feel like this is a topic everyone needs to hear. Not only the single ones, but also the married people, because a lot of you feel trapped in your marriages and it's already too late. So the last thing you need to do is work it out.
Exactly.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah, so I mean, this conversation started last week, and we were talking on being separate, which basically means to be set apart or set aside for a special purpose. So singleness has nothing to do with whether you're dating or not dating. Singleness has to do whether you understand what you've been separated for or what your purpose or calling is. And another part of singleness has to do with being unique, and that's what we're going to touch on today, and then answer some of the questions that might pop up or whatever inquiries you guys might have. So being unique also what that means is being the only one, meaning that you're not a copy, you're not a follower, but you're also a leader. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or if you're a female. Singleness touches the part of leadership in your life where you're not following, you're making a headway on your own. It also means being without a like or an equal, meaning that there's nobody like you, and then you have distinctive characteristics. So being unique is something that we definitely need to be able to explore before we even go into a dating relationship. And if we're married and we came into singleness late, or we're late bloomers, we definitely have to tap into what our purpose is, what it is we're supposed to be doing for God, and figure out what our uniqueness is, meaning what is it that makes us who we are. So a lot of people they don't know who they are, and they don't understand their uniqueness, and they don't understand that you're the only one of you, and you're trying to follow trends like on social media, or trying to follow to look a certain way, and you kind of forsake yourself. So when you think of uniqueness, what comes to mind? Any of you guys?
You can go.
Both of them, they want to not talk about it.
I think, like you're saying, unique is when I think of unique, I think of someone who is different, who stands out from the rest, whether that can be good or bad. Like sometimes you see someone like they're interesting, it's like they're not common. And I think that sometimes it's hard to embrace our unique characteristics because they make us stand out, and sometimes we feel like uncomfortable or awkward. But I think that it is important to like accept ourselves, all of us, for who we are and for what God has created us for, because I think that and we were talking about this, me and Angie, like the importance of singleness is for us to be able to get to our purpose, and so to be able to even understand what our purpose is, we have to be able to embrace all of us, because we don't know what part of us God is going to use for us to achieve our purpose.
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen, though, when people start dating is that's one of the things that they lose. They lose their uniqueness. Like they were unique and they were fun-loving, or they had a certain character that they liked certain things, and then they got into dating, and all of a sudden they lost these things that they really liked. They lost their pursuit of the passionate things that they really liked, and they actually started becoming more like the person they were dating versus them being who they were. I'm not going to put anybody in a spot, but I will. Do you feel that it has happened to you when you've dated? Angie.
Has it happened to me?
Yeah, do you feel that kind of happened to you? Like if you dated in high school and other stuff, that you feel that you lost your uniqueness because of the person you were dating. You knew that you had your own characteristics. You were the only one, but somehow, some way, this person took it away from you when you started dating. Do you feel that happened to you, or does that happen when people date?
Yeah, and even when people are not dating, my friends did it to me too.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes we talk about, okay, it happens when you're dating, but sometimes I think we miss that point. Friends can do it to you too.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that.
For me, it was with friends. Not saying it's their fault. It was me because my character wasn't as strong as I thought I was.
Right.
As I thought it was. But it also happened in relationships as well. Me, it's hard to explain. It's just, I'm outgoing. I love to laugh. I like to be everywhere. I love to just be, keep people entertained.
Right. It's part of your uniqueness.
Yes.
Of you being so flamboyant, like all out there. And it's really cool. So, but you couldn't be that way around other people sometimes?
No. Okay. Relationship, let's just stick to one. Relationship-wise, the person I was with would feel insecure when I was that way because I would get along with everybody. And I didn't view anyone negatively. Once they seen that I was growing, I was blossoming, they said immediately negative things about me that brought me down and made me think like, maybe I shouldn't be like this. Maybe I should just keep to myself. Maybe it's better this way.
Right.
Where they just snatched it away from me, and I stayed.
They took the life out of you.
Yeah.
Right. So they didn't understand their own uniqueness.
No.
And since they weren't unique, they felt that you were shadowing them.
Overshadowing them, yeah.
So they try to tear you down instead. Wow.
And as for friends, it wasn't them tearing me down. It was more of me seeing them do these things. And I was like, everyone is doing this. This is what's in. Should I do this too? And then next thing you know, I start doing it, and then I completely lose my uniqueness. Yeah. So it's not only in relationships, and it's not only when people put you down. It's if you see something and you see that that's in, and you see that everybody's liking it, you want to be that. Yeah. So that's another thing, and that's why social media is so dangerous. And the people who you surround yourself with is very dangerous, especially if you don't have a strong character. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, for those that are tuning in right now, give us a like and share this message. Let's help out relationships, and let's help out people that want to date. We definitely want people to date because God wants us to be fruitful, but we want them to have a healthy relationship, and we want them to be able to blossom and be able to fulfill the fullest of their potential and be able to understand what God called them to do. So just give us a like, give us a share. If you have a question or a comment, just go ahead and I got my trusty phone right here, so I'll be able to read your question or your comment online, and then we'll be able to answer. So as we continue this idea of singleness, being separate, being unique, and being whole, those are the words that come out in the dictionary. If you look up this word, being separate, like we're talking about, it has to do with being set aside. It's also in the Bible, it's called holiness. So a lot of people don't know this about singleness, that in the Bible, being separate is called holy, because holiness, that's what it means, or to be holy means to be separate for a specific purpose. So God integrated holiness into singleness. And even without you even understanding that you're holy, if you become single, you automatically become holy because you understand why God separated you for. So a lot of people that are struggling with holiness is because they don't understand singleness. It's because they're struggling with their singleness. They're like, oh, look, man, I'm a sinner. Hey, look at the things that I'm doing. Hey, look at all these things. But they don't understand that if their singleness is all worked out in their life, they have also now entered a part of of being set apart for a specific reason by God. So you don't even have to try to be holy. You just are. And you know, so we recommend everybody to be single simply just because of that. not because it has so many other stuff, but that in a specific. And when we talk about unique, isn't it great just to be the only one of you?
Yeah. And I think that what Angie was mentioning about friendships, in that, like, being unique, we also struggle with comparison. And I think that's like the main enemy, you know, where when we don't have that self-worth or that value for who we are, we will fall into comparison. And, you know, it can be a deep,
I have a
dark
question
hole.
for you in regards to that, because you're talking about comparison. Do you think that that's the reason why girls have a hard time getting along, because they compare each other a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I think we can be intimidating, you know? Like, yeah, I think that...
Is it like for example, us guys, we get along, but we see that girls have a hard time getting along. Do you think it has to do because of this uniqueness portion of singleness, where you're always comparing yourself instead of just standing out for who you are?
I think just women in general are compared, like, across the board, like whether it's other women comparing other women or men comparing women. So it's just been happening for so long that now, like, there's always that, like, conflict within women, because obviously, like, I want to be the best, and then she wants to be the best, so now we're clashing.
Like,
you know,
everybody wants to be the center of attention.
Exactly, because I don't see my self-worth and my value in, like, for example, when it comes to, like, beauty standards, we're both beautiful, but there's a standard that's set by society that you have to look this certain way. So, for example,
what is beautiful from your guys' standard? Because I know for a guy it's very easy.
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, because for us guys it's very easy. When we say beautiful, we're the girl is attractive. She's pretty. She got a good body. She's beautiful. That's it for us. But to women, beautiful means something else. What does that mean?
It's just all about the details. It's like, it's just so much. Like,
Do you want to chime in on this one too?
Oh my gosh. At least for me, beautiful in women.
Okay, so when you look at a girl, what makes you say she's beautiful?
Confidence, I think so. Like,
that's
oh,
good.
she's walking like she owns the place. Okay, I wish I can do that.
Okay, so that's beauty, you see? Because for us men, it's physical. For you girls, it's characteristics.
Yeah, I would say so.
But the thing is, like, women, girls now these days are too focused on what the men want.
Right.
So yeah, I might see that's beautiful, but since they see the physical part, I want to be that physical part.
Yeah, like women want to be considered beautiful and be approved by men, right? So if a man likes a certain look, if that girl looks like whatever that guy likes, now she's intimidating to me, and now I don't like her. You know? So
oh my God, can I say something? Okay,
Say it.
So look, okay, I'm gonna just put myself out there, okay? Because
expose yourself.
Exactly, because right now I'm fine. Like, I don't feel any way towards any other girl. Like, I say, okay, yeah, that girl's pretty. Okay, yeah, she has a banging body. All right, I can see it. But before, I used to have this thing, and it was a big problem. When let's say my current relationship right now. Right. In the beginning, I knew I wasn't in a place to be in a relationship at all. And maybe not now, but in the beginning, it's just I wasn't. Based
you
on
were
how
worse.
I was worse. Yeah, exactly. Where if I had a friend or if I knew someone that was really pretty and that's how I wanted to look like, I would say, oh, my boyfriend will look better with that person.
So you will pass your boyfriend on to that person because you felt
I wasn't enough.
You weren't enough.
Yeah.
So you didn't understand your uniqueness.
Mm-mm.
So you looked at her uniqueness, but you
like,
bypassed your uniqueness.
Yes.
And that's what women do all the time, you know, like, and so I think this point is so important, I would say, for women.
Yes.
Because it's probably our biggest struggle, you know.
And I'm going to read something real quick here from Brother Noah. He says that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the beholder is Christ. So that is true. He created you. He molded you, so he knows how beautiful you are. Why isn't Christ words to you as women that you're beautiful enough? Why do you need to hear from somebody else? Did I catch you?
We're being exposed.
No, yeah, because that's what we're talking about. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like what Brother Noah is saying, yeah, beauty isn't the eye of the beholder. So Christ molded you and created you, and he says that you're beautiful, but that's not enough for you. You want to hear your boyfriend say that you're beautiful. You want to say the crowd that you're beautiful. You want to hear other people that say that you're beautiful.
Words of affirmation.
Is it affirmation or insecurity? I'm asking. I don't know.
I think it's both.
Um,
Well, it depends. Every person's different, and the confidence level of everyone is different.
Yeah.
So it could be just that they want that affirmation, or they really are insecure, and hearing those words makes them feel better about themselves for a moment.
So then we go
Because-
back to this second point, uniqueness.
Yeah.
Is it because they're not unique? They don't understand that they're the only one of themselves. Like there isn't another Jemima and there isn't another Angie. That you guys are unique. There's nobody like you. Yet you need all these affirmation as women because the world has caused so much insecurity in your lives. Is that what it is, or am I wrong? Or what do you guys think? I'm like I said, I'm
No,
not.
yeah. I think yes, the world, society, and all these beauty standards have caused so many insecurities in women, and I think it's like about overcoming them, but it is very difficult because like we're constantly like
Being bombarded.
we're constantly being bombarded by all of these images of beautiful women. Like, you know, everyone is beautiful, but again, there almost seems like there's this standard of if I only look like this, then I am beautiful.
Now, let me just throw this into the mix here, because you guys are young, and you guys, you know, you're beautiful just not only because you're beautiful because of your characteristics, but because you're young. But what about those women that are now hitting their 35, 40s, and 50s? If you feel the way that you feel right now, for example, at this young age, and you have all these insecurities, and you have, you know, that you need all this affirmation, what can you tell me about, you know, the 40-year-olds and the 50-year-olds? How did these women feel? Because I know we're talking about you guys, and you guys are young, and this generation, but there is an older generation. How do you think they feel?
That's one thing. I don't think age has to do with. So how I view like older women in just general is that they have a lot of knowledge. And they have a lot of wisdom.
Right.
To me, I feel like that's beautiful. Like I can go to my mom and be like, "This is this situation,"
And that is true. I don't dispute that. But why is it that they feel ugly, or is old, or stuff like that?
Because
Maybe we should have invited an older one and we asked her directly, huh?
I think that what will always make a woman attractive is what you were saying, whether she's 20, whether she's 30, 50, 60, is her confidence. Because there's some ladies out there that, man, they're so confident, and that draws the attention. You know, she walks into the room and you're like, oh, wow. It doesn't matter.
She just walked in.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. We know someone like that.
We should have invited Pastor Vero up here too.
I
She should have had
know.
some comments.
She might make an appearance.
She might make an impromptu appearance here, just to elaborate a little bit on that point.
We need her perspective.
Right. But also, you know, going back here, unique is being without a like or equal. It's very hard for people to feel like they don't have an equal. Would you agree with that? Disagree with that?
Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by without an equal?
It's like, for
what does
example,
that
you we have you here, we have Angie.
mean?
You guys are unique. You guys have your own characteristics. You guys have your own, you know, thing that God gave you personally. But sometimes you might feel like, oh, she's better than me, or she has this more than me. But it's never about that. It's about, what do I carry? What do I have? And we always bypass what we're carrying to look at what somebody else is carrying. So how do you think we can correct that, or how do you would think that, that women can deal with that?
Okay, so let me just make sure that I'm understanding. What you're saying is that the point that we're talking about, being without or wait, what is it? Being without a like or equal, meaning that like she's not better than me, I'm not better than her because we're different, we're unique.
Right.
I guess it goes back to what God has planned for you as an individual. And I know we're taught never to look at what else, because everyone's in different seasons right now.
Right.
So we can't compare each other to, I can't compare it to her, she can't compare it to me. Because we're in
True, but it happens.
But that's up to us to kind of like, for me, what uniqueness to me is, and Jemima said it, is finding your purpose. Right. Because everyone has a purpose for themselves. And it's different in a way, I guess you can say, for everybody. Yeah. So my purpose is different from hers.
Yes.
So it's honestly, like, for me, I can compare to myself to Jemima. And I can keep myself at a lower level. But it's up to me to be like, I need to find my purpose. I need to push everyone aside. I gotta, I guess, I don't know, I can't find the words. Kind of like isolate myself from the outside world that's putting those words in my head. Right. And focus on God. Focus on reading the Bible, coming to church, and focus on being single and not worried about what anyone has to say, looking at social media, all these females or whatever. Just keep away from those thoughts in order for me to like finally get to the point where everybody's unique and I'm okay, she's okay. I don't have to compare this to this girl, or,
Yes.
I don't know if I answered.
No, I hear what you're saying. Do you think this is something that's achievable?
Yes.
I think so, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So how can we work out uniqueness, for example, then?
Among us.
Yeah,
women.
among the females. I mean, for us guys, it's very different.
Yeah.
We know what we're good at, what we do, and
you guys stay in your lane.
We
I
stay
feel like
in our
guys
lane.
stay in their lane, but we go all over the place,
Yeah.
So I think that just understanding for us women that we are who we are, and we can't change how God made us,
Right.
and we have to accept that. And I think that's how we're going to be able to achieve that and understand our own uniqueness in where we're at.
Right. So Brother Noah says, so the question might be, what makes you beautiful? And I think we talked a little bit about that earlier, that what makes a woman beautiful is different for a guy than it is for a girl. For us, it's just, of course, we can tell. I'll go with me. I think for men, it goes in phases, for example. When I was younger, beautiful was simply, she's cute, good body, she's beautiful, man, she's good looking. As I started maturing and I started getting older, I started seeing other characteristics. I've been married for 21 years, so when I married my wife, and I think she's going to join us, so we're going to just squeeze her in here now so that she can be part of this conversation. So when we started dating, of course she was young. She was about your guys' age, so she was beautiful. She was young. But as we got older, I mean, she's still beautiful. But then I started noticing other things about her character, the way that she conducts herself, her uniqueness, her separateness, and all of these things that I wasn't paying attention to before. So it's. Yeah, we're playing musical chairs here, and we are live. I don't know. Is your mic on?
Is it on?
Yep, it is on, I guess. Okay. So beauty does change, but like I said, for us guys, it's different than for girls, because you guys are, when you talk about beauty, you guys don't talk about looks. You guys are talking about character.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I was listening to about being unique, this is one of the things that I always say that they didn't teach us, when we were small, how to be unique, how to be what we like to do, what we love to do, or whatever talent and abilities that we have. And this is why we have certain, como dijiste?
Insecurity?
No. Peleando entre mujeres. Así,
Conflict?
Fighting each other, comparing each other.
But because we don't know ourselves.
Right.
Because one of the things that we have to understand of each woman is eso, de que everybody their own thing. And sometimes, como dices tú, like, man, I want to be like that girl. We compare ourselves, but because we don't know us. We don't know who we are. But the moment that we are, well, I mean, the moment that we know who we are, what we have, we might not have the same thing that the other girl that you say, like, oh, wow, she shines or whatever, you know? The moment that you get to know you, who you are, that's when you're the one that's going to walk in and everybody's going to say, wow, who is that girl walking in? You know? But that's one of the things that I was thinking, like, no, when you get to know your uniqueness and not trying to be someone else, that's when you become and walk with authority. You walk with your head high up because you know what you have, how God created you, sin tener envidia, you know. And once you find out who you really are, you will build other women to become better, greater.
And that's something that is not happening.
They're telling me, I'm
Women,
sorry. They're just telling me that the Vero's mic is not loud enough on the live. But continue.
We're working on it. What was I saying? Oh, that unfortunately in our current society, women, I think it's changing somewhat, but still women always tear each other down.
Yes.
And I think we're each other's worst enemy because we're constantly bringing each other down. And I think that we're here to build each other up, like you were saying.
Yeah, and that's something that we need. We need to, like, instead of saying, like, oh man, she has it all together, it's like be happy for her, but at the same time get advice or talk to that person, but not put them down, you know, because sometimes when you see a woman growing and become, especially the jovencitas, you know, when they're becoming this woman, you know, that they're trying to be, like, a lot of people want to tear them down instead of building them up, you know. And that's something that me also, I'm also learning. Well, I've learned it. Like, as you know, I can walk and everybody stares now.
This is who I was talking about.
Yeah, we just want to say un saludo a Luis Rosales de El Salvador. Bendiciones, hermano. Gracias por sintonizar. Una bendición que estés con nosotros.
But you know, not only that, the thing is that you have to find a guy or your boyfriend or maybe a friend, you know, that builds you up. Because there's somebody, even when the people that say that they're your friend, they put you down. They do. And they're trying to make you feel that they're friends, and they're trying to tell you, oh, this is wrong because, you know, I'm just being nice. But no, sometimes they're evil friends. And they're tearing you down.
Other intentions.
Yeah, they have other intentions.
So moving on to the next point as well, it said that the third point of singleness is whole. So to be whole is to be all complete, unabridged, uncut, unbroken, undamaged in one piece. That's like a loaded word because the majority of us come from broken homes, broken marriages, single parent homes, or no parents and friends. It's all this stuff. So we already come broken and damaged. So none of us come into this thing whole, which means that none of us are ready to date. Yet it's the first thing that we get into, dating, thinking that dating is going to make us whole.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think today a lot of people are focusing. Everyone, like, I'm gonna just use myself as an example. I was looking for love. I was looking for all these things that I can give to myself, that God is already giving me. I just needed to accept it. Right. But I wanted it from people I can see, so I can actually feel it. And I know we talked about feelings are temporary. Right. They're chemicals. So
they're just like drugs, chemicals that trick you.
Exactly.
And love is like that.
And that's how people get stuck in marriages. They go based off their feelings, and this person makes me whole for this season, but next season it's going to change. And that's why relationships should be based off purpose, because purpose doesn't change.
Something that I wrote down is, and I think going along with what you were saying, is how we get into relationships or even friendships because we're looking to find our value in our friendships or our boyfriend or husband or whatever. People get into marriages and friendships, relationships, because we're looking for our value. But something that I heard, and it really resonated with me, because it's like, oh my gosh, like, if only we understood this, that singleness increases the value that you bring to a relationship. So the more that I'm single, the more that I understand my uniqueness, I'm going to bring so much more value to my friendships, to my relationships, to people that are married, to their marriages. And it's just, it's so mind-blowing to think that we always look for that value in other people. And why do we do that?
And we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Your value comes from God, and that's
Right.
something that you really have to have it in deep inside your heart. Like, my value comes from God, because He's the one that created you.
And that's what trips me out. And like I said, I'm speaking now from 21 years of marriage, which is a totally different place from where you guys are at. But I mean, we were all there at some point. And we all talk about, man, God, if we just believe God or understood God or accepted God's love, then we would be fine. But why is it that it's so hard to accept God's word over our life, and it's so easy to take some other pagan's word over God's life so easy? So God says that you're beautiful. God says that He loves you. God says that you're perfect. God says that you're unique. But you're with a person that is tearing you down and making you feel worthless, or making you feel like insecure, devaluing who you are. And we believe all the words that this person is saying, but then we don't believe the word of our Maker.
Yes.
How does anybody have an answer to that?
I guess because everyone wants to see it. They want to feel those words touch them. And unfortunately...
Or is it because we're not reading the word?
And that too. And that too. But that's another reason. Like, now these days, no one's just sitting down and be like, oh, did you guys read the Bible? Did you guys hear this verse? Like, no one's talking about that.
We do.
Well, people out there in the world, if anything, they're talking about, oh, my boyfriend did this for me for Valentine's Day, or they took me here. Oh, want to know what he said to me? He said that one day he was going to do this, or one day, he gave me a promise. Like, people want to see stuff. They want to feel it. And unfortunately, they don't see anything when they're reading the Bible. I guess,
like, it's spiritual, it's invisible. I can't see it, so it must not be real.
Exactly.
I get it. It is a struggle. It is a hard thing to overcome, to be able to be in this relationship with somebody that you can't see, or that you can't feel sometimes. But if we want to get back in line to what the kingdom wants for us, we got to be able to understand these concepts, these ideas, because these ideas weren't meant to stay in the invisible realm. These ideas were meant to be practiced in the visible realm. And most of these things that we're talking about, I know the conversation is kind of going slowly into that area, but all of these concepts or ideas were created by God so that you have a successful relationship, so that you wouldn't feel inadequate, so that you wouldn't feel devalued, so that you didn't feel that you didn't have a purpose, or that you weren't good enough, and so that you can stop comparing yourself. So God gave us singleness so that we can be able to work on ourselves first before we ever dare get into any type of relationship. And I think that a lot of people, they rather get into a relationship first and then work on all the glitches. And 10 years later, we have divorce, we have kids, we have this, we have that, and we create a whole mess simply because we don't take the time to be able to say, hey, you got to work on your singleness. And like, for example, like my wife and I, we like to get Angie, and we like to get you, and we like to get any young lady, and we're like, hey, let's talk about singleness. Let's talk about this. Why are you dating? And we put you guys on the spot because we want to know, why are you dating? Because most of the time you're dating because you don't understand singleness. Because if you did understand singleness, you'll come to the conclusion, man, I shouldn't be dating.
Yeah.
Yay?
I need that water.
Yeah, and that's why you guys are looking for a boyfriend.
Yeah, because we were not put on this earth to meet somebody. We don't need anybody. We don't. But it's a privilege to have somebody.
Yes.
So what a lot of people are doing today is that they're looking. They're looking for that person. They're looking for those things that they don't have, because they feel like, oh, I don't have this, but this person does. They're going to give some of it to me. Mm-hmm. And then that's how they find that. It's a mess. It's a mess out there.
When you become yourself, when you become who you really are, when you start working on your purpose, what God created you to be, whatever your gifts, your talents, the abilities, and you're working on that, God will bring him. Because He's going to like you the way you are. He doesn't need to change anything, or you need to change anything for that person. But that person that is for you, God will send it to you. But you need to be at work.
So this is a question from Henry. He says, so putting the ideal relationship scenarios aside, can you be or should you be emotionally dependent on someone else, friend or partner? Do you want to take that?
Read
You
it
want me to
again?
take that? So what he's saying is, putting relationship scenarios aside, can you or should you be emotionally dependent on someone else? Basically, should you depend? And I think Angie kind of answered that. Should you be depending on somebody else to make you happy?
No.
Is it somebody else's responsibility to make you
You should be
whole?
happy already before dating. Because if you're sour, si estás amargado, I don't know how to say.
Sour.
Bitter.
Bitter.
That's sour too.
They're cousins. Like that's what you're taking to marriage.
Yeah.
You know?
So we should be able to be happy before we come into a relationship in order to add
You're
to the
going to love
relationship.
yourself so much that you'll know. You'll know cuando te traen tristeza, amargura,
When somebody brings you sadness or bitterness,
you'll know this is not for me.
yeah.
Because you're already happy. You don't need nobody.
So if you're already happy, you know that you don't want to be bitter, you don't want to be sad, so you avoid that type of person.
Right.
But if you are not practicing singleness, you come into the relationship and that's how you feel anyway. So you think it's normal that this is going on.
Yes.
Or you become so dependent in the relationship on that person, you in the end like kill the relationship because you take so much from it. And I think that like when you become single, it's not about what you can give me, right? It's about like each other. Like it's not. I don't think. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like you give me, and it's about building each other up. What would you say?
Well,
Like,
I'm going to
Bill-
read this story, and I think it's going to answer some of these questions. And I wanted to get to this part because we already talked about separate, being unique, being whole. But this is what makes the relationship work, because this is what God told Adam. If you guys remember, in the story, he said, "You know what? I'm going to make man in my image and my likeness, so that he can have dominion over the fish." And then he put him in the Garden of Eden to tend it and look after it. And then he sent the animals to Adam, and he said, Adam, I want you to activate your brain, and I want you to think, and I want you to name every single one of these animals. But every animal that was created already had a mate. So when he was naming the horse, there was already a male horse and a female horse, a male dog and a female dog. Everybody had a partner, and Adam was giving names to every single one of those animals. And then he said, man, there is no one comparable to me. Like, I'm looking at all of them that have a partner that is comparable to them, but none of them are comparable to me. And he just noticed that, and he kept on moving. And I want to talk about this word comparable, because I think that in one of the reasons why there's so many toxic relationships is because people are not comparable. So the word comparable is to be compared or worthy of comparison, meaning that you're equal, having the same quality, value, or measure as another on equal terms. So it means that Adam had the image of God. Adam had the likeness. Adam had dominion. Adam was given responsibilities and tasks to do, and he needed somebody that was comparable to him, meaning that was able to do the exact same things as him, that had equal value, that was worthy to be compared to him. And sometimes, we hear this word from the Bible: do not get unequally yoked. And when it says do not be unequally yoked, they're talking about that you guys are not comparable, meaning that you and him might be of the same human species, but you guys are not comparable because you have different mindsets, you have different purposes, you have different things that God wants for you, but yet you guys want to mix yourselves together even though you don't go together. And a lot of times in the relationships, that's what we see. And the reason we want to bring people back to singleness is so that they can be able to understand this idea and avoid all of these traumas and all of these problems that are going to arise when you're not comparable with the person that you're in. It doesn't mean that this person is more than you. It means that you guys have to have the same purpose or the same calling. You can't marry, Adam couldn't marry a dog, and he couldn't marry a horse. He couldn't marry a lion. He couldn't marry the giraffe. Those are animals. Those are people that did not have his same worth, his same calling, or his same purpose. So, when Huber was with us, I don't know if you remember a while back, he's like, when you see somebody that is not comparable to you, name the animal.
Yeah.
So he's a monkey. he's a cat, he's a gorilla, he's a lion, he's that, he's a
Yes.
dog, name it, because that's an animal. He's not comparable to you. But when you find the person that's comparable to you, this is what happened to Adam. It says that he fell asleep and God took the rib out of him, and he molded that rib and he made it into a woman. And then he presented that woman over to Adam, and when Adam saw her, the first thing that he said was, hey, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. So you notice the how he put the order of things. He first said bone of my bone, because bone or the bone marrow is what produces the blood and produces life. So the first thing that this woman did for him is gave him life. The second thing was that it was flesh of my flesh. What it's talking about is that he liked the appearance, that he can satisfy them in the flesh as well. But the first thing that makes a woman comparable or valuable to a man is that if that woman can bring life to him, meaning his purpose, his calling, what God wants to do. What do you guys think about that? Is that too much for you guys?
This
Blow
is
your
bringing
mind?
me a lot of conflict. Oh man, it's.
So,
Oh, we need a
Okay.
lot to learn.
I got a lot to
Yes.
learn about
I'm
singleness.
breaking up right now.
I'm sorry. This.
no, and it is good. And that's what I'm saying. Listening to the standards of God and listening to how God did this thing, what do you guys think? Because you guys are not married yet. And I'm not trying to break up anybody, but I will have to warn you, like 3 out of 3 people break up.
When they talk to us.
The one that don't.
3 out of 3 people break up when they talk to me, because they understand that they have to work on their singleness. Because if you're broken, you don't bring nothing into the relationship but brokenness. So you got to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, am I comparable? Is this person comparable? And this is where it gets kind of like conflicting, kind of weird as well. Because of our modern times, we think that we get to choose who presented to you this person. Because it says that God brought her to the man. Who brought you to the guy you're dating?
Right.
I'm just asking for the sake of the conversation.
Right.
Because most of the time we find them at work, or we find them in the supermarket, we find them in all these places, and hey boo, here we are, and you guys make this connection,
yeah.
but it wasn't God presenting you to anybody.
And you know what? There's certain ideas that your parents taught you, like, you know what? Because your parents know you, you know, and they know what is best for you, you know. And sometimes we ignore that.
Yeah.
Because we just, me gustó, he's handsome and cute, but we don't see the character. We don't see if he owes the shoes he's wearing. You don't see all this stuff, you know. You don't see all this stuff, you know. But the parents do see what they see. If you're a strong woman, a single woman, a very strong woman with a strong character, and then you get married with a guy that doesn't want to do nothing, you know. But the parents know. So would you say, let's say when you say, did God send you? Did God send him to you? Would you say that they also have to be approved by the parents?
Of course, the parents are the guardians of the child, whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. It has to be parent approved. So it isn't like...
And a lot of jóvenes don't do that.
Oh, no, they don't care about what we think. And that's
Yeah.
why they get into the relationships that they're in, and they're all messed up. But the bottom line is that we are the safeguard. So like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a female or a male. We can say, hey, look, man, this little girl's trashy. Get away from her. Or we can tell this...
This girl's too nice for you. You're going to ruin her.
You're going to ruin her. Get away from her. Because sometimes it's not about protecting him from the girl. Sometimes it's protecting the girl from him.
From him.
So we have to do the right thing as parents, and we got to be able to tell this guy, hey, look, man, I know you. You're a little slime ball. I love you. You're my son, but you're a slime ball. You can't be with her because you're going to ruin her.
Right.
And as parents, we got to be able to, have the courage to defend the other person from our own child. We have to do that. We have to protect them. That's what we were called to do. And the same thing with our girls. You know what? Hey, this guy's a slime ball. He wants us to get in your pants. Don't talk to him anymore. So we're there as this safeguard because we're no fools. We know what we know. So we were there put by God to protect you. But most parents don't take that position. You know, like I'll talk about us. We got into heated arguments with our children because they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do, and we're like, no, you're not going to do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what you think, what you feel. You're going to go ruin this person, or this person is going to ruin you, and we're going to get in the way of doing it. Now, once they turned 18 and they wanted to make their own decisions, we were like, we were left as spectators like, man, I'm going to see this crash and burn. But there was nothing we can do. But as long as they're minors, that's why they have guardians. They have guardians to be told what to do. They don't get to decide, and they can think whatever they want, but they don't get to decide. The guardian gets to decide what is right for them. And most parents want to be friends to their children, and they don't want to be parents, and they don't want to be guardians. And that's what their parents are like, oh man, she's 13, she should be able to date. No, she's in no mindset to date, and my responsibility as a parent, as a guardian, is to say, no, you can't date. And if she cries and she wants to yell at me and scream at me and slam the door, let her do it, but she's not going to do it. When she's 18, that's another story. But I'm talking about minor guardianship. That's what we do. And most of the people get in trouble in high school because guess what? They don't have guardians. They don't have parents safeguarding them. So they go out there and do foolishness, or they go behind the parents to do the foolishness that they really want to do. Right?
Right. Any questions?
So going back to being comparable really quick. So in order to know if you are can comparable be used the same way that you can say compatible?
I can, yeah, I
like,
guess in a way, yes. Well, I like the word comparable because it gives the actual definition, which means having the same quantity or quality, the same value, the same measure on equal terms. So that is totally different than being compatible. Because something that's compatible is interchangeable. You can use this piece or that piece and it'll do the same. Comparable, no, it can only be one piece. You can't use other pieces. So, in order to be able to answer that question even further, I think we got to be able to understand what God gave men. And he also gave it to you, ladies, as well, because you guys do have the man spirit, even though you're in a female body. He gave us 7 different things we call the 7 gifts of singleness before we can even. And I think that once we start answering these ones, we'll find out if, like, man, should I be dating right now? Or should I just end my relationship? Because this is what God gave man first. Before God gave Adam Eve, this is the 7 things that he gave them. The first one was image. So image is basically to have the character and nature of God. So the first question is the man that you're dating have the character and the nature of God? Yes or no? Simple answer.
Pass or fail.
Pass or fail. Simple answer, right? So it's not about you guessing. God is already telling you if he doesn't have these things, you shouldn't be with him because he's going to hurt you.
This goes for the guy towards the
girl. This was given to the male first.
Okay.
So as a woman, this is what you're supposed to be looking at. So this is a cheat sheet for all you women out there and for you 2 girls here.
Our checklist.
Oh, I have
Our
it.
checklist.
Right
So
here.
the first one is image. Does this guy have the nature and the character of God? Check. If he does, okay, good. Don't date him yet. The next one is function. So the function is, does he function like God? That's another word for likeness. So in the beginning, he gave him image, he gave him likeness or function. Does the guy function like God? Meaning he respects you, he honors you, he protects you, he does all these things. Or
He doesn't shame you.
yeah, or at the first opportunity, does he want to pull down your pants? Function. Right? So image and function. We're only on 2. The next one is his presence. Does he have the presence of God? Can you see
Not is
God
he
in
coming
him?
to church.
No. Forget church.
Not if
That
he
is a
comes to
trick.
church.
That is a trick.
Yes.
That is to fool you. Even the devil shows up to church. So
Right.
don't trust him.
And he sits in the front.
And most of the time the devil's in the front row. So don't trust the guy. So the third one is presence. Can you see the presence of God in his life? That was really good.
Yeah.
Because it said that God made Adam out of the dust and blew his spirit in him, and then he put him in Eden. Eden represents the presence of God. Where did you find him?
In the club?
If you found him in the club at work, he wasn't in the presence.
No.
Does he like to read his Bible? Does he teach you the Bible? Does he like to pray?
Does he tell you where is he going? Con
So
Dios, with God.
that's just number 3. I don't know where you guys' checklist is now, but anyway.
Any questions?
The fourth one is work. Work represents purpose. Did this guy have a purpose when you met him, or he didn't know where he was going? Because if he didn't have a direction, a purpose where he was going, then he's taking you wherever he's going. And if he's going nowhere, you're going nowhere.
Oh man, I gotta go home and think. No, it does bring a lot of conflict. It does, and it puts more pressure on relationships, and not even in relationships, just on yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are single. That's why a lot of people stay single. Mm-hmm. But it's all this is good information, and a lot of people need to hear this.
I'm saying this is God's standards. This is not made up by me. I didn't make this up. I'm just telling you what God said a man needed to have before a woman could even look at him. So he said, work. Does he have purpose? Does he know where he's going? Because if he ain't going nowhere, he's taking you there. Mm-hmm. And most people go nowhere with a lot of people. Yeah. You know? Oh, the fifth one. Cultivation. Cultivation means to bring out the best in you.
Have a lot of writing there.
Does this person bring out the best in you? Yeah. Or does he bring frustration, anger, sadness, confusion, and all this other stuff? Cultivation. Because the man had this before he had a woman. If he doesn't know how to cultivate, he's going to bring frustration into your life. He's going to bring anger and destruction into your life. Because the opposite of cultivation is destruction.
Yeah, because there has been some couples that they don't cultivate the wife, but they're just working on themselves. And they're not happy because they're always working on themselves. And that's why the woman is not happy, because he hasn't found himself. And how is he going to cultivate her if he himself hasn't found himself of who he is?
So these same things that men should have to be able to date, these are the 7 things that God gives him in his relationship with God. So man has to have a relationship with God, and God gives him his image. God gives him function. God gives him his presence. God gives him work. God cultivates him. So so since he got it from God, he gives it right back to you. But if he can't give it to you, because God hasn't given it to him, because he's not in a relationship with God. Ooh. The other one is protection. He says protect. Does he protect you, or does he abuse you? Now, abuse could be physical abuse. It could be emotional abuse, spiritual abuse. It could be sexual abuse. Because it could be any of them.
What did you say?
It's just like verbal abuse, but I'm like, but it could be any of them. Because man was created to protect. The safest place that you girls should be able to be in is in the hands of a man, not in the hands of a male. Don't confuse a male with a man.
Right.
Don't confuse the body parts. Oh, because he looks like a man because he has the body parts. No. A man has image, has functions, has presence, has work, has cultivation, and also has protection. Protection, which means that he's never going to do anything to dishonor you.
Right.
Nothing. And the last one, I'm seeing your painful faces here.
No, I'm just like, oh man.
Is
like,
this good?
Angie's falling apart.
No.
Is this good for you girls?
I'm probably going to be one of the 3.
No, but do you think this is helpful for everybody?
No.
No, it really is.
It's painful, but it's helpful.
Yes.
Nobody,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, but
It confronts you with yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think
And
more than anything, it's something that will
that's the goal.
confront you.
Yes.
And you have to ask yourself, is this what I want, or do I want to continue?
Yeah.
If you continue, you're a fool.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Knowing
Knowing.
this now.
Yeah.
You know, and ignorance, you can do many things.
Right.
But the Bible says that to whom much is given, much is demanded. So when you don't have this information and you go into foolishness, God has mercy and kindness for you, and He cuddles you and says, "Hey, come here, man. I know you've been hurt because of your ignorance, but let me tell you something." And then He wakes you up. But once you have this information and you voluntarily go, then God says, now you pay the consequences of your decision.
Because you got yourself into it knowingly.
Yeah.
But we were talking about like it's so sad to see girls that they are so like they see all the bad things around them, but they just ¿cómo se dice? Se detienen por un hilito, you know?
Oh yeah, they hold on to a little thread of hope.
Yes.
He might change. He might be different. He's not that bad. You know, he hasn't become yet.
They're
Like,
looking
no, it's
at
like no.
they're
Then-
looking at their potential.
Yes, yes, and that's such a dangerous thing because potential is more of an insult than it is a compliment. Potential is more like you could be that, but you're not. So when you say, "Man, this man has so much potential," what you're really saying is you're not doing nothing with your life.
Oh man.
So when somebody's doing something with their life, you can't say they're full of potential because they're doing something. So if you're telling your man, you could do so much, it's because he's not doing enough.
Right.
It's getting hot in here.
Right.
And let me touch the last one. And the last one is his word. So what is he teaching you? Does he teach you to sin? Or does he teach you to be holy?
Ooh, what I
Does
have
he
right
teach you
here-
to obey the word of God? Or does he teach you to obey his voice? Ooh.
Oh man. Well, basically the same thing he said, but he said it better. Is he teaching you the word of God or the word of human? Yeah. Oh man.
Because a male will use his word to manipulate you, to control you, to get you to do what he wants. But a man will give you the word of God so that you can become and be free and stay pure and be honorable and be obedient to God.
And it goes back to el marido tiene que mandarte sin mancha y sin arruga.
Yes.
Right?
So if he doesn't have a relationship with God, how can he have all of these items? Because God gave this to Adam before he even gave him Eve. Eve wasn't even in the picture yet. Eve was still inside of Adam when God said, have my image, have my function, be in my presence, have purpose, cultivate, protect, and then guard with the word. And then he said, I want you, listen to this. This is good stuff. Then he said, I want you to name all the animals. And he was naming all the animals. Adam said, there is nobody that's comparable to me, right? And then God said, Adam didn't say, I'm ready to date. His father said,
He's ready.
God said, now that I see you with my image, that I see you in my function, that I see you in my presence, that I see you working in your purpose, I see you cultivate, I see that you protect, and I see that you have my word. Now this man, he should not be alone. Not all the other males, they can stay single. They shouldn't date. They shouldn't have a wife. They shouldn't have a girlfriend. They shouldn't have no female around them. But this man that has his image, his function, his presence, his work, cultivation, protection, and word, that man, he should not be alone. He needs somebody just like him that has his image, that has the function, that has the presence, that has the work, that has the cultivation, that has the protection, that has the word, that is comparable to him. So I can't date just any girl that I want either, because the girl that I date has to have his image, has to have his function, has to have the presence, has to have the work, cultivation, the protection, and the word as well. That's what makes it comparable. If the girl that I'm dating, the only thing that she had is a nice booty, that's not the one that I should date. Just in layman terms for people to understand. If that's all she can offer me, I'm with an animal. I'm not with a woman. And there are many animals out there. You might be with one right now.
Yes.
You might be with one right now. Married to an animal. And that's what you're trying to tell him. Hey, behave yourself. But he's an animal.
You can't domesticate them.
You can't domesticate an animal. And many women married animals. And then they want to change them into humans. And they can't. They weren't comparable. because you didn't find them with the image of God. You didn't find them functioning like God. You didn't find them in their presence. They had no purpose. They couldn't cultivate. They couldn't protect you, and they had no word. And you're demanding from them something that they're not.
Right.
It's crazy. So now we know why there's a lot of marriages that are in trouble, and why there's a lot of single people dating that are in trouble, because they don't understand that before they go into this relationship, they better make sure that not only the man but the woman have these gifts in their life. They gotta be able to have that image.
They need all 7.
They need all 7. If he has 6, wait.
Right.
Don't say, well, he 3 out of 5 is not bad. No, don't do it.
Right.
He can protect me.
Yeah, he can protect you,
Oh
but
my
then he's gonna take you nowhere.
And if we don't have these, we shouldn't be looking for a relationship.
Exactly my point.
goes
Because it said that once God saw that man had all of this, then he said, it is not good for this man to be alone. It was God who said it. Did you hear the voice of God to say it is not good for this woman to be alone? That he came looking for you. Then he said he made the woman out of the rib, and then it was God who presented the woman to man. But God did not give the woman to man. He presented. You know what presented is? It's like, hey, here's the coffee. Do you want it? Yes or no? I got presented with the coffee. I said no, because I don't drink coffee. It was up to man to say, you're the woman, you're an animal. I'm going over here.
So question. Because for some people, it might not take them a long time to achieve these 7, right? But for some people, it may take them a long time. Let's say someone who is now, I don't know, like 28. And now they're just hearing about the kingdom. And they realize, like, I don't have any of these things. But unfortunately, we live in a society where, you know, getting married is like pushed on you. You're 28, you're 30, you're 35. Like,
you're not even single.
Why aren't you married yet? And I think that's another thing that, you know, we have to kind of fight against, because we have these pressures, outside pressures, expectations by family, just society in general. What would you say to someone that is in that position where, let's say they're 35 and they're not married, but now they want to work on themselves and their singleness, but they're also in that like conflict of what do I
come back to God. The only way that you can achieve any of these things is if you come back to God. So once you come into the presence of God, then he'll mold you in his image. He'll give you the function. He'll give you that purpose. He'll start cultivating you. He'll start protecting you from the things that don't allow you to grow, and then he'll give you his word. So it doesn't matter what age it is. What God is really trying to say here is that if you don't have this, you're a danger to your partner. So if you're 28 and you don't have it, don't date. If you're 35 and you don't have it, don't date. If you're 45 and you don't have it, don't date. And if you're already married, then there is a more urgency to it, because you're already in this relationship and you're already committed. So now you have to be more intentional about coming to the presence of God, so you can get that image, get that function, get into the present, get into the word, cultivation, protection in his word. It is more demanding for a married man and a married woman to come to God to receive the gifts of singleness than it is for you guys that are not married yet, because you guys, and it is up to you when you're ready to marry. It is up to you how fast you can go through these phases and have them become natural or be part of your character of who you are, versus faking it.
Yeah.
Because you can't fake these things. And that's what happens, that what we see at the beginning is people faking these things, and then their true character comes in because it's not part of who they are. They're just faking something to try to get you. They're just like skilled hunters. It says that Satan, what he does is that he puts I blanked out on this word. But as a hunter says that he puts like a little string on the ground. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Well, whatever. He puts this little string on the floor to capture the animal, a snare. That's what it is. Yeah, so he puts the snare on the ground, and then he just leaves it there so that somebody that is not paying attention, or an animal that's not paying attention, can walk by and get trapped by the snare. So when the animal passes by and the snare catches his leg or his neck, the more he tries to pull away from it, the more it chokes him. So the animal kills himself. And the only way to be able to get out of a snare is if a hunter comes, or a more skilled hunter comes, and he comes and he removes the snare out of your life. That's where most people that are in these type of toxic relationships, they try to get out, but they choke themselves more. They need somebody to walk in there and remove that snare, the trap, that the enemy, that where they have fallen, so that they can get out of there. But what happens is that when you're trapped in the snare and you're putting away, you're so scared and so frightened that you're trying to defend yourself. Anybody that tries to come and help you, you will attack, because you're thinking that they come to hurt you.
Yes.
You see how the devil works? It's crazy. So you have to wait until this person is tired and this person is weak and can defend themselves, and you're forced to kind of just watch them from the sidelines. And once they're almost passed out, now you can come in and you can remove the snare and rescue them and nurture them back to health. And that's what happens to most relationships. They get choked out, beat up.
That's good.
Until somebody steps in and like, hey, let me nurture you back to health. Why did you date him? I don't know. I just thought he was the greatest guy in the world. I didn't think he was going to give me this black eye. I didn't think he was going to do this. I didn't think he was going to mistreat me. I didn't think that he was going to talk down to me. I didn't think that he was going to do these things. But I was already trapped by the snare, and I was trying to pull out, but I couldn't pull out anymore. And the more that I tried to pull out, the more I got sucked into it. And that's what it feels like, and they think it's love. It is not love. You're being sucked in by the snare. It's crazy, right? I didn't want to disappoint anybody, but we got to deal with singleness.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Oh, man, you guys. I'm like speechless, to be honest. I don't know what to say. Definitely thinking a lot, because...
Look, man, I don't want to find you passed out, choked out somewhere by the snare. So think
But don't
about
get
it quick.
discouraged. I met a pastor. Well, I haven't met her, but she got married when she was 16 until she found herself. Until she found herself, she said, I'm getting married. And she was 60.
60.
60.
I know of a similar story, yeah.
Yeah.
She was like close to 62.
Yeah, she did not want to get married until she would be happy to do what it is that God called her to do. And then God sent the man.
The man, and this is
At
and this is the thing. Yeah, 60 is not. You might think it's old, but it's the ripe age, quite frankly. But man, I blanked out. I was gonna say. Go ahead.
That's it.
That's all you got too.
Wow.
I guess that's all we got too, because we're at 9:07, and time just flew. I hope that this was a blessing to everybody that was watching. We definitely would like for you guys to partner with us, and you can do that through Zelle at honorseat@house633.com. If any of you guys have any more questions on singleness and dating, send us a DM, private DM. If you don't want to make it public, reach out to these ladies, to my wife or to myself, and we'll be able to answer any singleness questions. Our intention is not to break up anybody, especially since we are in the Valentine's season, but we definitely don't want you to get hurt and be trapped in a snare in a relationship that is just choking you out. Pay attention, open your eyes. Does your man or your female have the image of God, have the function of God, the presence of God, is working for God, can cultivate, can protect you, and have His word? If they don't have those things, it is good for them to be alone. Don't date them. So, until Friday, we do our Bible studies on Friday at 7:30 p.m. to 9:30. We do invite you. We're going into the book of Matthew chapter 21. And then on Sunday, we continue Kingdom 101, going back to basics with, a spoiler, we're going to talk about the King himself. So, till next time, you guys, final words?
If you guys have any questions, just message me. I'm always glad to help. This church is open to everybody. We love to help. We want to get you at your purpose. You come here to become, and that's what we want, and that's what our goal is. So feel free to message us individually. Message the pastors. They can help you. They're a lot of help. But yeah, you.
Also, we're going to continue this conversation next Wednesday, right? So if anybody has any questions from now until next Wednesday, you guys can also send them so we can have, some questions to answer as well.
Yes, amen. And yeah, I just got in here, and we'll hope you guys enjoy this plática conversation. You know, if you know anybody that wants to buy roses to a girlfriend, show them this video before they spend their money.
Before they spend money. I'm saving many people gifts.
Yeah. No, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and to the king.
To the king. Till next time.